Good afternoon, Bison fans, and welcome to the Bucknell Women's Lacrosse Virtual Season Preview Show. My name is Maisha Kelly, and I'm joined today by Ben Quintera, Senior Associate AD for Leadership Development and the Sport Administrator for Women's Lacrosse. Before we start, I'd like to take this time to thank Giant for sponsoring this year's preview series and for being such a tremendous partner to Bison Athletics. We have a great lineup for you here today, featuring head coach Jackie Dando and three of our current players, Kaylee Peeples, Eva Makris, and Mason Rhodes. Time now to welcome the head coach of the Bison, Jackie Dando.
Hi, Maisha.
Thanks for joining us. How are you? Thanks for joining us today, Jackie.
Hi, great to see you.
Jackie is entering her second season as the head coach after an initial season was cut short last year after only 8 contests. Prior to coming to Bucknell, Jackie spent 7 seasons as the head coach at Lebanon Valley College. She was a 2-year captain and 2-time academic All-American as a member of the lacrosse team at Messiah College, graduating with a degree in journalism in 2009. Jackie, we're going to get the stage started here and set the stage. But before we do, talk about your return to play and this year's potential full spring season in 2021. How excited are you personally to be back and preparing with the women for the 2021 campaign?
Yeah, thanks, Maisha. We are so excited to be back on campus this spring. We were excited to get back this fall as well and be with the team. Last year was pretty heartbreaking, not just for the senior class ending in a pandemic and having this pulled away without having much of an idea beforehand, but I had just arrived at Bucknell as well, so we were just starting to make strides and come along as a team, and all of a sudden here's this big change again. So being able to actually get back with the team, being on the field together, has made all the difference. Even this fall, the limited time we had together was still great in small groups, and then we built up to full team practices, and really excited to actually implement more strategies this spring, but continue to build the relationships with our players as well.
That's great. And so we know that lots of planning has gone in, and we talk about the build up and preparation. Can you share a bit what are the student athletes and the coaching staff? What do you have to do on a daily basis to be able to operate from a health and safety standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, it's more than we ever would have known a year ago, right? We've been really thankful for the athletic department to put in a lot of protocols so that it's not a question of what the rules are. That makes it easier in a sense. So in terms of smaller spaces, indoor spaces, we have a max in our locker room. We have appointments for the training room. We have a max in the weight room that's smaller now. So there's a lot of adjustments to capacity numbers, but then there's also a lot of adjustments to practices and games as well. Thinking about having 2 buses instead of 1 bus when we travel, just to spread out more on the buses. Eating before we leave instead of eating on a bus, not stopping for indoor dining. I mean, everything has really changed, but we feel like those sacrifices are worth it. But in terms of practice, we do wear masks at practice. So that has definitely been different. We never imagined that last year. And we build up from small groups. So we started in pods with those they lived close to, so that if there was any transmission, we were able to mitigate the risk as much as possible. And then the testing has been the other biggest addition. So we test once a week. We remind our student athletes to get tested. It's really important. And then we go from there to try to keep everyone as safe as possible.
Great. And so certainly the daily protocols and getting there from a health and safety standpoint, it's to get to that Patriot League season for sure, and potential other competitive opportunities. So even just the planning for the Patriot League schedule, which we know is unique, just as unique as what the daily protocols look like. Can you share what you and your peers in the Patriot League, the role that you played in constructing the schedule, constructing the formats that we have, and then also conversations around should you have to pivot and how flexible you need to be in this environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think these conversations are still ongoing just because we haven't even started Patriot League play yet in our spring sports. So overall, we understand that there's going to be changes, and we're asking our student athletes to be adaptable and flexible every day. So us as coaches, we have to do the same thing. And, that includes scheduling. So we were given our schedule for the Patriot League. We were able to add 2 more non-conference games. And then we were also able to cross over into the other division, which is great since we are such a central location in the Patriot League, and pick up a couple games and then also pick up Army at the season, which we're really excited about. So, we do have an extra weekend at the end. That May 1st is an extra date at the end of our season in case we do have makeup games, which will probably happen. And we're just kind of aware. I've already gotten emails from non-conference opponents trying to get games for last weekend. So every weekend there's teams that are trying to find games as we have to adapt to each situation. But yeah, we'll try to be flexible and adapt while also making sure the team's, safe and ready to play.
Adapting, flexibility, resilience are for sure lots of the characteristics that we hear, and we're going to hear from some of our students who are just doing those very same things as students and athletes here on campus. But can you talk about, from your perspective, what you think the physical from a physical and mental standpoint, what you think the toll has been on student athletes and how you've led your team to work through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think physically it's just challenging to be as prepared when there's limited. So even when they're at home over a really long winter break for the first time, the longest one we've had, not all indoor facilities are open. Not all high schools are open to even get outside and get on a field. So I think just that physical preparation is hard to start with. But our strength coach has been amazing. Their body weight exercises, anything they needed to do from the safety of their homes, they could always do over our breaks. And then, right now we're paused. And so that's challenging just because physically they're not playing with their full team. And so it's just not the intensity of a full team practice. So, that's a challenge. And then mentally, when you have these highs and lows in COVID, you get going and then there's a pause, or you get going and then there's a change. You have to find a way as a team and as a coaching staff to make sure everyone stays as stable as possible. And so I think it's just staying positive, knowing that these things are temporary, believing in the long run, really getting to Patriot League games as we're just starting our season. But it can definitely wear on you. But I think that's when you really need to lean on your teammates too, and have that messaging from your coaches that we're going to get through this. So, just reminding them that health and safety is first and foremost, and that we're here to support them as we all navigate this, together.
Great. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jen.
I'm not sure that a lot of people know how successfully you were able to navigate the fall being a head coach of 42 people on your own, but the exciting news came in November that you were able to hire Kirkland Lewis, which was really great. And just hoping you could share with us, what do you see Kirkland bringing to the team, and what kind of impact has she been able to make so far?
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out in the search process with Kirkland was just her experience. I mean, she had been a head coach. She had been at a variety of schools. She played at Division I level. And she had experience, like I said, as a head coach. And a lot of times when you have that experience, you're able to, really fill any role that you need as an assistant, because you've really done it all, right? As a head coach, you've touched every part of a program. So I knew that she would bring experience, maturity, and we had a lot of conversations about leadership and culture and building a program together, and doing it the right way, and having very similar messaging and consistency between us, but also having a different point of view, being at different schools and having different experiences, playing and coaching experiences. So I think that was really neat to feel like, okay, we're on the same page with a lot of our values, but we have different ways to get there too, which was cool. So really excited for her to coach our defenders. She's been able to do some individuals and work with them already this season. And then also take over the recruiting as our first assistant, which I'm excited to, start again this summer.
Jackie, there's been a lot that you've had to manage through this remote process, including hiring your staff, working remotely with your student athletes through different phases of the last almost year now. But as a new coach, building towards a program that you envision being successful, how have you worked on building culture? What are the things that you're emphasizing with your student athletes to have a strong culture that gets to the championship level.
Yeah. And I think, what I talk to our team about now is the same things I talk to recruits about, because I want to be super clear. This is the direction we're going. And if recruits are committing to play for us, this is the expectation moving forward. So last year, I would say the biggest thing was just setting structure and expectations as soon as I came in as a new head coach, so they knew what they were getting and they knew what was expected of them. But I think, I just try to be really real with them and honest with them and give them feedback that's direct, but also, supportive. And we've done a lot to work on the culture, because I think at the end of the day, especially for females, they need confidence in their play individually and as a team. And if that strong team culture isn't there, you're not going to have that confidence to be able to know you're going to go out and win that game. And so we've talked a lot about what are our core values. And a lot of those core values have been to be super supportive of each other. They're a very, very close team. And, my vision for the future is to build the competitiveness into the team culture. So just because we're supportive, we're also holding each other accountable in a positive way, and pushing each other more than we even knew we could. So I think that's a big piece of it, is maintaining that positivity and that closeness, that bond, but that bond through, doing more and, playing with a relentless spirit. And having fun while working hard. And so that's what I'm excited to continue to build. But we've had great conversations this spring, this summer, especially with the Leadership Council. And then just as we started the season, actually, and being on pause, it's given us some time for great conversations within positions and within the team too. So I think, culture and those expectations and goal setting is so important, but then you got to live it. And then you actually can't just talk about it. You have to walk it. You have to do it every day. And so that's, the part that we're excited to continue to put into place.
Yeah, well, speaking of competitiveness, despite what the weather might look like right outside right now, we are quickly approaching the start of the season. So, what can your fans expect to see from this 2021 women's lacrosse team? Can you give us kind of a scouting report on our own team here?
Yeah, I think, we're still figuring that out. We've only had 2 weeks of practice so far. And like we talked about, one coach in the fall. So I think we're still figuring out the best combos on the field, and the best looks on the field. But the exciting part is that I think, change is exciting. And we had some great seniors graduate last year. But it also, that graduation gives you opportunity for growth. And especially with a new coach, I think that's a lot to look forward to this spring. So our defenders and our goalies are super solid. They're pretty similar from last year in the sense of we graduated Jessie Britton, who was a great defender for us. But we remain with the other starting defenders, and our 3 goalies come back, all 3. So I think that's really exciting in the back line. And then middies, we have some brand new middies and a mix of upperclassmen as well, which is exciting. And then freshmen and attackers, I would say, is our attacking unit. We return Eve Calabria, Peeps, who'll be with us later today, and some strong attackers, but also have a mix of new attackers too. So I would say, we're trying to figure out the best combos on the field. We're trying to see who really put the work in to continue improving over winter break, and we'll continue to evaluate and try new combos all year. But I'm really excited for it to be, fully a team that, although I didn't recruit all these players, fully a team that we have a handle over all the systems we're putting into place.
Coach, we're going to ask you to dig in a little bit on your first year class that's coming, that you brought in. And so what do you think that they are going to add to the program? And also, how do you think that they're doing adjusting, and what are some of the ways that you're helping them adjust to the college experience, which I guess we're all kind of adjusting to what has been the recent environment?
Yeah, I would say, so this is a big class, our freshman class, our 2020 class. It had 11 freshmen coming in, and we actually kept 2 walk-ons, Colleen Kelly and Taylor Copan, who are both, great additions to our team and are still standing out this spring. So we have a 13-member freshman, which is really big, but they each bring a unique addition to the team. And I would say, thinking about their transition, it certainly wasn't easy, especially their fall, I would say, was more challenging. But now that we're in it and they're kind of used to it, they're the ones who are pushing every single day in practice and doing extra. and, asking for feedback and asking for individuals. And, they're the ones I see, even if we're on pause, doing extra around the track and things like that. So I actually think it's almost like they don't know any better, because this is all they've known their first year, and they're so eager to work hard and improve and make a difference on the team, that I think that spirit has kept them going through this, these ups and downs of this year. And they also lost their high school season senior year. So I think they're just as excited to play as the rest of the team. And they're just excited to be here. They see other teammates from high school and other friends who maybe aren't able to go back to their college or aren't able to play this year. So I think they're excited to be here. And I would say, some of them we definitely expect to make an impact right away, just with their skills, their high school success. But again, it's getting those combos with the upperclassmen to be able to work together well.
Yeah, great. So Jackie, you're no stranger to coaching in this area, which can be a challenge for spring sports, especially since got our first game coming up this weekend and we have snow coming down. So can you talk to us about how you coach and prepare the players to be in their best shape and ready to go, given the ups and downs of the weather that can limit sometimes what your practices look like?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about flexibility through COVID, and I told them when we were practicing a couple weeks ago, I said, with the snow, I said, we can never complain about knowing if we're inside or outside after we've dealt with everything with COVID. That used to be our biggest stress, was inside or outside today, right? And we'll let you know by noon. So I think, the other things we talk about when we talk about weather is, obviously what we're doing in those spaces. So if it's indoor, it's usually a little bit more strategy driven. If it's outdoor, we have the opportunity to go full field and play transition and, get fitness in. If it's indoors, it's a little bit more like walkthroughs and teaching and understanding how we're going to play, cutters on defense, or what play we're running that next day outside on attack. So it's a little bit more strategic on the coaching side, I guess. But, good just to practice anywhere we can each day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. We're all really excited to watch you guys start playing. So best of luck to you and the team this season.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, time now to welcome our 3 current players to today's program. Our first guest is senior attacker Kaylee Peeples, who hails from White Plains, New York. Thanks for joining us today, Kaylee.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so in addition to your commitment to the lacrosse program, you have been very involved in both the Student Athlete Advisory Committee and the newly formed Bison Athletes of Color group. Can you discuss some of your work with these groups and just how important it is to you to be involved in multiple areas across campus? And I will add, no pressure whatsoever given who the hosts of the show are.
Well, I am the vice president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee here on campus, and I'm also one of the founding members of Bison Athletes of Color. And I think it's extremely important to be involved with as many aspects of Bucknell as you can. We're more than just athletes here at Bucknell. And I think being a part of different clubs and Greek life and all these other aspects are really important, because you get to add more to your identity as a student. So that's why I'm really fortunate to have those opportunities here at Bucknell.
Kaylee, can you talk to us a little bit about being a senior leader on this team and this current uncertain state, and how do you help and support your underclassmen, especially your first years, as they're navigating this year and now we're going into the season?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting time, definitely a learning experience, I would say. And also, I mean, while I'm trying to give advice to younger people, I'm also receiving a lot of advice too, because I think for everybody in this period, it's been quite a struggle. But I'm really fortunate enough to rely on my senior class. We're all really close and we all work hard together. And I actually give that advice to younger people as well. I think a mistake is to think that you're alone during this time. A lot of people will obviously be upset with being in quarantine and feel that isolation. But I think it's important to reiterate that, this team is a huge family and we're all super close, and you can always rely on others if you just need someone to talk to, if you need advice, you need something fun to do, like watch a movie, whether it's through Netflix Party or just play a fun game. You can always rely on your teammates, which I think is really important. So not just for underclassmen, but for everybody in general.
So you mentioned some activities, and can you share what are some of the ways that the team has maintained working on a team bond, particularly given the large size first year class, and so folding them into the culture and the team, the culture and the bond with the team? What are some things you've done in this environment?
Yeah, so planning team activities has been a challenge, to say the least, during this time, especially because, like you said, our team is really large. But we have come up with a couple of things. Last Friday, we actually had a team trivia night, and that was a lot of fun. Recommend it. Go on Kahoot. It's awesome. And actually for the trivia night too, we did it about ourselves. So we thought that would be a good way to incorporate the freshmen and give them a chance to get to know us, and then also gives us a chance to get to know them. So that was a lot of fun. We have also done movie night, like I said before, with Netflix Party, or Teleparty now it's called. We watched Miracle, one of my favorite movies, and it's just kind of fun seeing everyone's reactions to that. And we'll do Zooms here and there too, just to catch up and talk to each other and try to stay connected during this time.
Yeah, great. Kaylee, you have one semester left to go. I know, a little scary, but also really exciting. So can you share with us both a little bit about, what you're hoping for this last semester for yourself, and then also what you're looking to in postgraduate plans?
Yeah, so as much as it pains me to say, it is my last semester here at Bucknell. It's crazy how time flies. For lacrosse, for myself, I just want to be able to continue to push myself and get better for these last remaining months that I do have. And the same thing for the team too. I think it says a lot about someone's character to push through adversity and to try to become better no matter the obstacles in front of you. And I hope that I'm strong enough to do that, as well as my team. And I know that we are. It's just a matter of actually doing it now. And in terms of life after college for me, I'm actually in the process of choosing a law school to go to. I have great options, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. And I know all the lessons that I've learned from Bucknell, whether it was on or off the field, will definitely help me in that.
Great. Well, thank you, Kaylee. I look forward to when you show up on the Zoom in the law school sweatshirt. So it's like signing day. That's what she's promised me, everyone. So we're excited to see that, and we'll also watch you play this spring season. So thank you for joining us, and good luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Our next player is junior defender Eva Makris from Baldwin, Maryland. Welcome, Eva, and thanks for being here today.
Hi, Maisha. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So after last season being canceled before it could conclude, what's the mindset of the team now that you're looking at a chance to play? And what do you also think that you've learned from the adversity over these, again, almost a year now?
I mean, yeah, it's crazy to think about that it was a year ago that it got cut short. And I feel like it goes without being said. I mean, everybody has been like, you just have to take this moment and be grateful that we have the opportunity to be on campus. And I know a lot of other teams don't have the opportunity that we have. Like, we got to be here in the fall. We got to work with our teammates and see everybody. And I think it's just the mindset has been trying to make every moment that we have on the field matter, not going through the motions and just being able to take advantage of it.
Eva, you've seen your role on the team continue to increase as you've gone along in your career here at Bucknell. So can you share with us a little bit about expectations that you have for both yourself and the team as you look to this season?
I mean, yeah, it's crazy that I'm already a junior. I can't believe it. And I think this year is huge for not only me, but for our team. It's a big year to step up. Coach Dando mentioned that change is exciting. And I think that graduating a lot of seniors that played. It's a huge year for a lot of our underclassmen and even upperclassmen that haven't had a chance to play yet to really step into their roles. And personally, I know I hope to be a leader on the team, and I want to be that player the other players play for. So I just want to be more solid. And I mean, yeah, I hope to perform well. And I think that our team has a huge potential, and I hope to reach that this season.
Help to share some of the technical insider scoop to particularly playing on defense. As a defensive player, balls in motion from the offense, defense is going at it, and defense presumably is playing really well, but whistle, whistle, whistle. So talk to us about what is the right approach, what triggers a foul, and give us a little bit of a player's inside scoop as we get ready to watch some lacrosse this season.
I mean, it's definitely, I'm sure it's frustrating to watch, and I know it's frustrating to hear those whistles on defense. And a lot of times it'll look like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, what went wrong? But it's honestly, I feel like with defense, when those fouls are triggered, it's all about footwork. So a lot of times, unless you're like guarding a girl, you just have to make sure that you have your feet in position and you're guarding up. And if you're reaching with your stick, or if you're pushing them too much, then it's a foul and that'll get triggered. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it's all about footwork. Got to be athletic. You have to be fast, and yeah, avoid the fouls.
Well, Eva, speaking of avoiding the foul, I know being in the Patriot League is a really competitive conference, so you're always looking for the opportunity to excel. So can you talk to us a little bit about, what do you view as some of the toughest competition that we have in the league? And is there a school or venue that you enjoy playing at for any particular reason, or, how do you approach that?
I feel that in Patriot League, I mean, the highest ranked teams right now overall are Navy and Loyola. And I think it goes without being said, they are tremendous lacrosse teams. And I really enjoy playing Loyola. I think they're a great team. And also, I mean, I'm from Baldwin, Maryland, so I'm not that far from Loyola. So, it's nice getting to drive on my home highways down to Loyola to play there. But I think Navy and Loyola are both great teams who have great strength and athleticism. And it's always a fast-paced game when we play them. And I think that they really bring the competition. And so I always like playing teams at that level because I feel like it helps our team to rise up to their level and compete with them.
Great. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. We're really excited for you guys to get going, and good luck.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. And our final guest today is senior midfielder Mason Rhodes from Winmore, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Mason.
Hi, Maisha. Hi, Jen. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. I every time I see where you're from, it makes me miss being home. I think I've probably shared with you before, I'm a West Mount area kid myself, so we are
Oh, I didn't
neighbors.
know that, actually. That's so funny.
Yeah, there we go. So we'll have to maybe carpool home one of these days. But anyway, let's dig in here a little bit. And, we often talk about the importance of leadership. And so as a senior, having had 3 years of leaders in your own career here at Bucknell, can you name one or two leaders that you've really looked up to and what characteristics you've taken and now apply that to your leadership?
Yeah, definitely. So one leader that really comes to mind from when I was a freshman was Mary Margaret Kenny. Her locker was next to mine. And so right off the bat, I instantly kind of was forced to connect with her because we were, next to each other every day. And I'm really grateful for the relationship that I formed with her. I came in as a very shy freshman, so she was a very approachable senior, and she always, made conversation with me and made me feel really comfortable. So that's something that, I try to kind of work into my leadership style now that I'm a senior. And I kind of want to look out for those freshmen that remind me of myself when I was a super shy freshman. And then another person who just graduated last year was Sarah Doler. She overcame a ton of really serious injuries and still maintained an important role on the team. She never kind of wavered from being a voice and being a leader. So she was just super consistent and energetic. And that's something that I really looked up to for her as a leader.
Great. Well, Mason, as you kind of look back over your career at Bucknell, can you talk to us a little bit about, do you have a favorite moment that you've had so far? And now that we've kind of transitioned into a new coaching era, what's it been like with your two new coaches kind of leading the way for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think our team culture is really strong. We're a really close-knit team from freshmen to seniors, which is something that I think is really special. There isn't like a crazy hierarchy and that kind of weird dynamic. So I'm really grateful for that. I think one thing that's remained consistent that I'll always look back on is bus ride memories. I have just very vivid memories of our freshmen singing karaoke and Sarah Monteleone playing the harmonica until people were screaming at her to stop, and just watching movies and all laughing together. So that's something that will really stick with me. I think talking about now the transition with our new coaches, was so disappointed to lose half of last season with Coach Dando. Once it started feeling like we were really on a roll and we were really getting into it and playing her style, and then we got the season kind of ripped away. So I'm really grateful that I do have this last season to kind of play under her leadership. And now with Coach K, it's only we've only had a few practices to get to know each other, but I think she's really challenging our team to play very intense, but also play very composed and kind of not freak out and get super anxious on the field. So we're just still kind of trying to work out those habits, and I'm really excited to see where this takes us. And even with these challenges, especially with the last couple of weeks of being on pause, both our coaches are keeping us super involved and inspired to stay engaged and watch lacrosse and practice with teammates in smaller groups that we can do. So I think that's really important to just keep everyone engaged.
So here's a fun one. Oftentimes sports and superstitions can go hand in hand. So if you thought about for yourself or your teammates or even coaching staff or team in general, are there any superstitions that permeate through the team, or even just routines that you all, maybe you individually or you all, go by before practices or games?
Well, I think before games, this isn't something that I do, but people, with the game day hair, they always have the same person they go to get their game day hair done. I think something more kind of meaningful that we do every single day is before every practice, our team kind of comes together and picks a team word or a practice word that we want to really incorporate into all of our entire practice. That's our main focus for the day. And then that's our cheer that we use during practice. So, for example, one day it might be focus, another day it might be family, things like that. So that's something that's super constant. Another thing that we kind of use throughout our team is rule number 76. So last year we came together and we decided that we needed kind of a mantra to, reset us. And interestingly, when I was in high school, I was on a visit to a different school, and I saw that on the back of the girls' warm-up shirts, they had on their backs, it said rule number 76. And I was 14 at the time, or 15, and I asked one of the players what it meant, and she explained that it was actually from the movie Wedding Crashers. So in Wedding Crashers, they go through all of these different rules, and rule number 76 is no excuses, play like a champion. So that ended up being kind of our mantra, our little reminder. And of course, that's, a public thing. It's in Wedding Crashers, but it became something that just was about our team. And we actually got it printed on the backs of our warm-up jerseys too. It's actually on the back of the shirt that I'm wearing right now. So I think that's been a really cool constant and something that's just for our team and reminds us what our goal is. So that's, I think, a big routine that we incorporate all the time.
That's great. Speaking of goals, Mason, do you, as a senior too, have any particular goals for yourself this season, both on the lacrosse space and maybe in that scary postgraduate space for what you want to accomplish in the next couple months?
Yeah, I think, it was losing last season was super eye-opening. I think it forced us to kind of acknowledge how constant athletics have been in all of our lives for like the last 10, 15 years. So we lost that everyday routine of playing and having that outlet. And I remember we played the Furman game and we walked off the field and saw the email that non-athlete students wouldn't be returning to campus after spring break, and we would continue our season. And we had this lingering fear that, okay, well, maybe we might not finish our season. And we said to ourselves, okay, well, we need to start playing every game like it could be our last. And then Furman ended up being our last game, and we haven't stepped on the field since. So I think that it's been a very eye-opening experience that sports are so important to us. So as far as like how we channel that, we need to kind of use that this season. I expect that for myself. I think it's been a very hard last year without having any lacrosse games. So I expect everyone on the team to use that energy and that last game mentality in every game, because as we've seen, it could be our last game. So that's what I expect for each of our players and for myself also. As for my post-graduation, I've accepted a position as a project engineer for an engineering firm in New York City called ME Engineers. So I'm super excited about that. It's scary that I'm leaving Bucknell, and I feel like I need this, this last experience with my team to feel kind of ready. But I know that throughout my whole career at Bucknell, being a student athlete has kind of helped my academic career. So I know that working with the team has really helped me as an engineer working with teams. So I know that my career here will really help me start my career.
Well, we are super excited for you, although we're glad that we get to keep you for a couple more months. And best of luck to you and your teammates this year.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Mason. Well, a special thanks to all of our guests today. We really appreciate their time with us, and to my co-host, Jen. Thank you for joining. Well, this wraps up today's show, and thank you to Jeff Campbell, Jen Tobias, and Jess O'Shaughnessy for their assistance with today's event. Our next event in our season preview series, sponsored by Giant, will be on Monday, February 22nd at noon, and will feature the volleyball program. As a reminder, a complete schedule of the upcoming preview shows can be found at www.bucknellbison.com. Good afternoon, everyone, and go Bison!